Well, that's more like it. The world champions looking a little bit better. Yo, what's going on, friends? Welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Coming off a 3-0 win at home before the international break. Admittedly against a very weak Wolves side, but no injuries. Certain players getting loosened up for the rest of the season, finding some form. We're going to speak a little bit about that today, and it is a Chelsea news video, but we are going to look at some stats. Alejandro Garnacho, are Man United going to regret selling this kid? Because I tell you what, he looks like his application, his dedication, his training and his performances, no issue there at Chelsea. And of course, he's fighting with Jamie Gittins for that starting left winger role. We know Maresca loves wingers. Wingers are very important. Speaking on wingers, we're going to react to an article from Matt Law speaking about Estevao, the boy Stevao, the Brazilian beautiful blue boy who's tearing up the Premier League. Of course, been valued over £100 million. Only Lamine Yamal is worth more than him as a teenager, and he better start looking over his shoulder, mate, because Stevao is here. Maresca spoke about that. We'll speak about it. We'll sort of mosey on down through that article. And also, Malo Gusto, he scored his first goal. How good is he as a player, though? He was really, really highly rated, and through time, he was one of the ones that people sort of stopped using as an example as a really intelligent signing. Low transfer costs, but ultimately high value. I mean, we speak about your Palmers, your Stevaos, maybe, your Garnachos, even players like Renato Vega we made a huge profit on. There's loads of examples of players that we spent not that much on and basically increased in value hugely. Malo Gusto was one of those because he was purchased at a very low transfer fee. He had a really good debut season under Pochettino. He was moved around with Maresca, and then, he'd never scored a goal. And of course, now he has scored his first Chelsea/professional goal. It's worth bringing up again in the conversation, looking at what he does, how good he is, and how valuable he is. And, again, probably another really intelligent and good purchase. So yeah, it's going to be a great video. Welcome home, guys. If you are a returning visitor and you're yet to subscribe, you find yourself, hey, I'm not subscribed to Football Therapy. Guys, it's time. We're so close to 200,000 subscribers, and you could be the difference maker. So thank you for supporting the content, for dropping a like, commenting, subscribing, hyping up the video, all that good stuff. It's really appreciated. And we're going to get into it, starting off with Malo Gusto. Now, of course, Gusto scored his first goal for Chelsea, a header coming from a beautiful cross from Alejandro Garnacho. More on him in a few minutes. I did mention it in my instant match review. We've seen Malo Gusto pop up in these high-value shooting opportunities so many times the last year and a bit under Enzo Maresca. Of course, he's playing this new role often where he comes inside and he gets loads of shooting opportunities in the right pocket. Often, he does also play as a conventional right back. I said this yesterday in my match review. In the Club World Cup final against PSG, of course, European champions, he played as a conventional right back, running in behind, and played very well. So Maresca is not opposed to doing different things, as we've seen, but he does really like deploying Malo Gusto as this inside player at times, so certainly in the offensive phase. I've been banging my head against the wall with this for a long time, maybe not quite as much as seeing Tariq George being played as a striker, but this one for me was, it's not working, stop doing the Gusto inversion. Now, yesterday, I'm not saying it was because he was inverting, but he found himself in, a shooting opposition. He heads the ball well, he scores, and hopefully, they're going to come flooding in now. I've joked for months now, feels like years, that as soon as he gets that first goal, he'll feel a sense of relief, a weight lifted, and then when he's in those shooting positions moving forwards, he'll be more inclined to score. Now, because we're speaking about him, he got his goal, he deserves a little shout out and a look at what he's good at. So I want to highlight some statistics of Malo Gusto from his scouting report on FBref, some of his strengths, so we can remind ourselves what we're actually getting from Malo Gusto, who of course switches with Reece James, but sometimes they're both on the pitch together. So take a look at this. Pulled up the old analytics graphic video page for you. Got that one out the vault. So yeah, here are his strengths on FBref. He's really, really, really strong in shot creating actions when the ball's live. He's in the top 1% versus fullbacks, which is really, really, really good. And he's in the top 2% of ball recoveries. So those two strong metrics, creating shots and recovering balls, he's like, really, really good. Remember, he's super young as well. His long pass completion is strong. as well as his medium, and of course carrying as well, and just his shot creating actions as well. He's in the 93rd percentile. I mean, you can see this on front of you. These are really like nice, diverse, different sort of metrics that he's good at. He's good at loads of different things. Passes into the final third, passing distance, loads of touches in the middle of third. That's probably since his sort of switch up in the Maresca system as well. Goal creating actions as well. He's in the top 9% for all fullbacks. These are really, really strong statistics from Malo Gusto. Now, Malo is super young still. I mean, how old is he? Let me just check quickly. He's 22 years old. He's 22. He turns 23 at the very end of this season. So he's super, super young. We bought him when he was 19. He's going to get better, man. By the time Malo Gusto is like mid-20s, I think he might be very good. Maybe he'll be Chelsea starting right back, Reece James will be midfield, or I don't know, some other role and rotating in and out. But I did want to spend a couple of minutes, which I have, speaking on Gusto since he got his goal, but also reminding people why Maresca really likes him. He offers so much to the tactical plan, the open play, and now he's finally got that weight lifted off his shoulders about that goal. Maybe the rest of his play will develop even more, and he'll get, the odd goal. Nothing like Wolves at home to be fair, and it was his goal that was so important. It was like a back six. We couldn't break them down. I think we were playing pretty well, but they were defending well, and ultimately it took someone like Gusto scoring his first ever professional goal to break them down, and the other goals came. So shout out to him, and yes, he's a very good footballer, a very young footballer who is going to get better. Right, we'll end the video on the article regarding Estevao, but I do want to speak now a little bit about Alejandro Garnacho. Now, of course, Enzo Fernandez, in my opinion, deservedly won man of the match yesterday in the 3-0 win over Wolves, but Alejandro Garnacho was a lot of people's man of the match as well. Of course, if you had watched my match review, my match reaction, SofaScore gave the best player of the match to Garnacho. Now, if you haven't watched my match review, I'd urge you to go take a look, watch that, because I, of course, review the game in detail, tell you how I feel certain players performed, so I'd welcome you to go check that out. But Garnacho is a huge talking point. Chelsea fans didn't want to sign Garnacho. I include myself in that. I became pretty, open to it over time, but, initially I was like, I don't fancy this. But he's been a really intelligent signing, and for 40 million. Now, that's more than Chelsea fans were willing to pay. Early doors, Chelsea fans were opposed to this. I'm speaking broadly in the general terms here, so I don't want to speak for Chelsea fans generally, but this is what I perceived. Generally, Chelsea fans didn't want to sign Garnacho as a whole. Many of them didn't. And then when, perhaps you think, well, it's a market opportunity. Amorim's told him he's never going to play for Man United again. 20 million. If we get him for 20 million, 25 million as an asset, that's an incredible purchase in terms of what he's capable of. Of course, he wanted to come to Chelsea. There was pictures of him in a Chelsea kit as a kid. He, didn't support Man United. He just came through there, and he saw Chelsea on the up. We won the Club World Cup. Of course, his countryman, his teammate, a national teammate in Enzo Fernandez, was sort of getting on the phone saying, yeah, come to Chelsea. And we eventually buy him for 40 million, which is, Man United fans who know how good he is or how good he could be were thinking, well, he should be 60, 70 million. You got a snip at 40 million there. So Man United fans not overly happy. Chelsea fans having, after we spent 40, we're a bit like, oh, it's more than I wanted. Yeah, I was willing to take him for 25, maybe 30. 40's a bit in that meh. But ultimately, if you analyze the market, it's an incredible deal. And if you read, articles about Alejandro Garnacho, apparently he's been training really, really well. He's really professional. He's been doing exactly what the manager wants. He works really hard. He's seemingly Chelsea's starting left winger in the higher profile games, and is passing all the fitness tests to remain on the pitch for 90 minutes. He seems pretty selfless as well. He will go for the spectacular, your overhead kicks. We've already seen him try one or two for Chelsea, but he will often put crosses in. Now, I want to just show you some more stats, do a comparison between him and Jamie Gittins. Of course, Jamie Gittins has had really positive moments for Chelsea. He scored probably our best goal of the season so far, in what was a winner, actually, against Wolves in the Cup. It turned out to be in the end when we won 4-3. He's got a couple of assists, Gittins. They're different players, but I want to pull up the stats page again and use Understat to compare both Garnacho and Gittins. So let's take a look. So here you go. This is for this season. It's a relatively small sample size, but as you can see, it's more minutes to Garnacho, 358 minutes to 220. I believe this is in the Premier League. So So, as you can see, represented on the spider graph in green, Garnacho is very strong indeed. He gets 2.5 goals per 90, but, you know, for a winger, that's kind of fine. That's 1 goal in 4 games. He'd probably want to juice that up a little bit. But in terms of assists, that is 0.5 an assist every other game per 90. Takes quite a lot of shots, actually. Same amount as Gittins. They both take 2.26, which is probably about right for a winger, unless you're like a superstar winger. Like I'm sure Stevao takes a lot more. But look, key passes per 90, Gittins is a lot higher. So these are probably more like technical through balls, playing in the box. Garnacho's going to probably run right super wide, maybe to the touchline and cross it back, or stay wide and cross it in, where Jamie Gittins will probably be a more 1v1 winger, keep the ball close to his feet, kind of like Jadon Sancho, how Jadon Sancho played. So in a way, like when we planned to have Sancho and maybe Mudryk, you could almost compare Garnacho and Gittins here in this sense. Both very young players, both very good players. I think Jamie Gittins is 21, Garnacho is 22. They are different style. Now, of course, Gittins is yet to score in the Premier League, as you can see. He will. Finishing's actually really good. And there'll be times where Garnacho gets benched for Gittins. So I'm not writing off Jamie Gittins here. They're very different. And I actually think Maresca will start not just on form. If there's a certain opposition that has a particular weakness, if it's being, you know, running in behind, maybe I'll have Garnacho. If maybe the right back's not great defending 1v1, you'll start Jamie Gittins because of his dribbling and carrying ability. But at the moment, Garnacho looks like he could be an absolute snip. One of the main things we heard about Alejandro Garnacho was like his attitude, you know, I think Ten Hag even had some problems with it, and Amorim didn't like him for whatever reason. But mate, he had that. It's so difficult to judge because Man United, I know it looks like they've sorted themselves out now, finally. I mean, it's still early doors, but they've undefeated in 5, 3 wins and 2 draws. That's, you know, that's good form ultimately, isn't it? Especially for them. It looks like they've sorted themselves out and they've settled on the players they want. But it's very hard to judge players that had a difficult time at Man United and gone elsewhere. You can look at Sancho did all right for us. Look at Anthony. Look at Rashford at Barcelona. He's having a, you know, nice enough time. Yes, players go elsewhere and do well from Manchester United. And when Chelsea, you know, Matt Law, who we're about to reference in a different article, he published a piece on how Chelsea did their due diligence on Garnacho and say, yeah, we don't see a problem with his character here. We see this as a Man United problem. They brought him in, and like I said, since the briefing has been, he's training well, his physical condition's amazing, and he's retaining tactical information incredibly well from Maresca, and £40 million is an absolute bargain. I don't think there's any additional clauses or sell-on fees or whatever, but I think Man United will feel frustrated long term if, you know, Garnacho is a constant starter for Chelsea, adding high value. You know, Mason Mount for 60 million, who's just been injured for a lot. I mean, I think Mount's a great player. I actually think Mount should be starting for United. You look at the comparison, he had 12 months left on his contract. Mount, he goes for 60 million quid. I'm not saying he's not worth it. Chelsea could have demanded that. It looks like we could have absolutely pulled Man United's pants down on Garnacho. So let's hope so for the banter. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts. Please do comment them down below. Let's move on and talk about Estevao. I like it. Matt Law has written about the young Brazilian superstar on The Telegraph, saying the following: it might have been Malo Gusto, João Pedro, and Pedro Neto who got the goals, but it was the name of the Brazilian wonder kid, Willian Estevao, that the Chelsea fans were singing on Saturday night. Estevao has quickly made himself the star turn at Stamford Bridge with Cole Palmer out injured, and the winger showed off his thrilling talent yet again, and of course helped Enzo Maresca's side get that goal and the win against admittedly bottom of the table Wolves. Now the CIES Observatory Data Company this week valued Stevao over £100 million, rating him the second most valuable teenager in the world after only Lamine Yamal, but he is already priceless for Maresca and the Blues. Yeah, being valued at over £100 million already, not bad, is it? Now, of course, earlier I wanted to highlight how Malo Gusto was an intelligent and high, an intelligent purchase for low money. Stevao, of course, we agreed to sign him when he was still 16 years old. So shout out, credit to the scouts who went, right, we need this boy. Yeah, we need to lock it down. Of course, we fumbled Endrick, inverted commas, for he was £60 million Real Madrid paid for Endrick, and now he's going on loan to Lyon and wants to go on loan to Lyon because he can't get a sniff at Real Madrid. Looks like we got the right one. We signed Stevao at the moment for £29 million. I think he can go up to 50 if he becomes wins the Prem or gets all these goals and stuff. And even if he does, I hope it does, because it means he's performing well. 50 million for Stevao would be insane. But for the moment, it's 29 million, which is less than a third of what he's now been valued. Only, what, a few months into his Chelsea career, he's immediately rocketed. Now, I'm not suggesting, great, we can sell Stevao for loads of profit. Matt Law rightly says he's priceless, but it's just an indicator, it's a barometer of what amazing scouting this is, or what, even if you could say it's not even scouting because he was tearing it up and everyone knew he was good. Right, well, whoever, the freaking geezers at Chelsea who turn up with a PowerPoint and convince him and his dad to come to Chelsea and not other clubs, whoever it is, well done. When asked about this CIES valuation on the Estevao, Maresca said, yeah, you can see that, absolutely. He's a top talent. We are trying to help him and adapt him in the right ways. He's doing fantastic for this club, and for the next 5 or 10 years, he will be a top player. Hold on, let's hope it will be 10 plus, because in 5 years, Stevao's going to be 23 years old. So in 5 years, he's going to be Cole Palmer's age. So let's hope it goes a little bit further than that, Enzo. Let's say even in 10 years, he's going to be 28. He'll still be in his prime. Can we have him for 12 plus years, please? Don't ever sell him. He's the boy. And it just feels right having a great Brazilian. We've got a history of like high profile, high performing Brazilians like Ramirez. Willian's pretty like, you know, underappreciated as well. You know, there's Thiago Silva, pick your Brazilian. But it's, yeah, it feels right that we've got a proper Samba boy set now at Chelsea between Stevao, you know, Andres Santos, João Pedro. It's fun. Maresca goes on to say, the reason why fans buy tickets is because they want to see players like Stevao, like Cole Palmer. People are happy when they're on the pitch. Slowly, he's going to start games for us in the future. Now, you can go read this article. I just wanted to highlight a few of these things here. I did want to reference the starting for Chelsea, because I've been speaking about it a lot. I understand why Chelsea fans would be like, always start Stevao no matter what. And yes, he did demonstrate good defensive nous in that game in terms of tracking back. But, you know, we were winning against Wolves at home and they've had their 20th place. There will be games, high-profile games, where we will need still Pedro Neto to start over him. I'm glad Pedro Neto got a goal. It was a tidy finish, actually. It was an amazing assist from Garnacho, the aforementioned. But Neto, again, he was playing false nine. He plays right wing. He plays left wing. He's a really good professional, and he will, again, in terms of deploying a plan, you sort of trust your senior. He's 25, Neto. He's not even like a 30-year-old, but you trust these players. Stevao will be too good to not start for Chelsea. It's just as simple as that. There will come games where you will want, like, you know, people will talk about Lamine Yamal, but being Barcelona in La Liga is a bit different to being Chelsea in the Premier League at the moment. He was never going to start this game against Wolves purely because he played 90 minutes midweek in Baku, mate. So they were like, it doesn't matter how fit, at what age he is, or how senior and experienced and how conditioned he is. No footballer was going to do that. And then, you know, start this game here like that. He will eventually start for Chelsea, but at the moment, coming off the bench against tired legs, this kid is a demon, and yeah, I think we're handling him perfectly. And to be honest, I think Chelsea fans, you know, there's been around different headlines, Chelsea fans will soon demand he starts. I think Chelsea fans are pretty smart with it, actually, and recognise how to manage young player and how it's going really well. Just keep going. I mean, obviously, by the end of the season, you'd want to see him start high-profile games, but yeah, we've got good options to rotate in with the wingers now, and yeah, very, very happy, and over £100 million, already more than treble the value we've invested on him in terms of a basic transfer fee. Right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you as always for joining me here on the channel. Thank you for subscribing if you're yet to do so. We are closing in every day closer to 200,000 subs, which for me would be a wonderful milestone that I think would share together as a victory for all the community here that we've cultivated over the last 6 years. 6 years? Bloody heck. Alright, mate. Take care of yourselves. I hope to see you back here soon. Enjoy the football. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living. I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines. I rap through thought. Body bag the verse. Outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double, silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.